just changed our process a little bit. We were, having people sign up on a wait list and then setting out appointment times for them to come. We decided that it was time to bring the public into the shelter just a little tiny bit. So now we're booking appointments again. It's really cool what we've done in the multi-purpose room. We've created this like super safe but super welcoming environment for the public to come in and sit down face to face with an adoption counselor. I think having these 2 spots set up in the multi-purpose room is just a really, really cool way to be really inviting to the public, but also show how safety is our number one priority for our staff and our potential adopters. I think what we've proven since the end of March is that we are pretty innovative and we can still rock out adoptions under the most extreme circumstances. The way we move forward the rest of 2020 and into 2021 doesn't really concern me. It kind of excites me to see what we are going to come up with next.
So we had approximately between 450 and 500 foster homes that were available or on our contact list, so to speak, starting in 2018. In about March of this year and up until, still ongoing, but up until now, we have over 1,000 foster homes, which is pretty wild for a shelter of our size. We have probably increased the amount of animals that has left the shelter and gone into a foster home, I would say by around 1,000 to 1,200. I've run this program for, I think, coming up on 4 years now. There is never not a time where I don't think, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get this animal out or these animals out, or holy crap, there's 85 kittens that need to go out, and they always come through. And we started a foster Facebook group this year for the first time ever, and that has been really neat to see. I know a lot of the staff will like add their spouses and stuff, even though they're not technically foster, just because it's like a happy group where everyone gets to see animals out of the shelter and snuggling, and it's really exciting for staff as well. So when they go out to see those animals on people's couches, decompressing and chilling out and sleeping for once. Sometimes I feel like they don't sleep here, they don't sleep very well. So that's super important, and that makes a huge impact. Additionally, we've just recently had a couple of fosters work really hard on making us like Adopt Me vests that are super cute. So just kind of, I think, that public aspect and keeping those animals in homes rather than a kennel, and then showing them off in the public is going to be a new aspect for us. We have transferred in close to 400 more animals this year as of November 11th compared to last year, November 11th. So that's really exciting for me. The transfer program is a big passion of mine.
So the pandemic did have an effect on our public spay and neuter services, but now actually we seem to have all the kinks worked out and we're up and running full speed again at this point. There's a great need for that in Lawrence, and we found that out over the last few years. There's some things that we've definitely learned. One thing I learned is with the reduced staffing that we've had, that there's always something to do. And if we can all continue to work like we did through the pandemic when we were short-staffed, who knows what the future holds for the next year. We continue to just push the envelope and get better and better every year. This year was absolutely no different. When we look at our life-saving ability at the end of the year, it's going to be our best year ever.
Two of the biggest ways that we bring in money require us to be face-to-face and with at least one person, and sometimes in large groups. And that would be individual meetings with some of our donors who have capacity to give large amounts, and then our large group events like the Fur Ball and our Paw Valley 5K. So one of the first big changes we had to make was for Paw Valley. This is an event where on one day of the year, you've got a bunch of people all turned out at the same place, same time. In mid-March, we had to start changing our plans for Paw Valley. That was going to happen in April. So right in the beginning of this pandemic, we had to completely change on a fly. We had about 3 weeks to change our plan from this one-day 5K event to a virtual event that went all month long. People could take part from the comfort of their homes. They could walk out their door and start walking. We set up different paths throughout the community where people could take their dogs. We were able to track and still get the prizes to all the winners. And the beautiful thing was that we had a more affordable and more accessible option for Paw Valley this year. So we had way more people turn out for Paw Valley than we did in 2019 or in previous years. We really opened up the event to the entire community instead of to a select group of people. And because of that, we were able to bring in about the same amount of money right at the beginning of a pandemic. And then from there, every year our biggest event is the Fur Ball. And of course that's this big beautiful gala and auction where we have 400 or 500 people in a room all sitting close to each other. They're mingling, they're looking at different auction packages. Not exactly social distancing friendly. So we knew right away that that was not going to be an ideal situation, so we began preparing, and the question was, what can we do for the community here in Douglas County where they'll still get some enjoyment out of it, they still get some value added from our event, and it helps us bring in those same kind of funds for our shelter pets. And what we landed on was coming up with this kind of a variety show telethon, a throwback to Jerry Lewis in the 1970s. It was incredibly successful. All the feedback we got, people really enjoyed it. We had lots of ways for the community to participate and be interactive with the event, so it really became this entire community event instead of just a couple of hundred or a few hundred of our higher level donors. So we're going to take those elements, the successful elements from Paw Valley and the Fur Ball that really allowed us to be more accessible to the community and implement them in 2021 and moving forward, because we really did see a lot of success by increasing the accessibility so more people could participate.
The CPR fund officially launched October 13th in 2020, and just from that day through November 13th, so exactly a month, we've had 209 applications. The goal is to try to contact everyone at least within 48 hours of when they apply. It's not always possible, but we're doing it at least 95% of the time. We have had 118 animals come into the Humane Society and be treated in our own clinic, and that's been for preventative care. So that's been spay neuters, vaccines, microchips, flea and tick treatment, a few exams, and that's on top of everything else that the clinic is already doing. We have 118 animals scheduled to be treated, again, at the Humane Society for that same kind of preventative care between November 16th and December 16th. So again, it's 118 animals in 1 month. And that's just as of last Friday. I think I've scheduled more since then. By far, the highest need has been the preventative vet care. The spays and neuters, the vaccines, microchips, flea and tick treatment. A woman contacted us and she needed to be hospitalized. She was in a really bad place with her depression, and she had been delaying her treatment because she had a dog and had nowhere to board this dog, didn't have the money to board this dog, didn't have anyone that could care for the dog. And her caseworker, Bert Nash, had learned about this program, had told her about the program. And so when she called, I said, schedule your treatment. Don't worry, we will take the dog whenever. She was able to get the treatment that she needs. And that's something that, I don't know what she would have done if we didn't have this program. I think the big thing is that, we, and obviously the board also in this, understand that every single human is deserving of, the unconditional love from a pet and companionship, and that between pets and people, there is such an intrinsic connection to mental health, that this is really something, I don't want to say revolutionary that we're doing, but I think that we're really leading in a lot of ways in the industry with this approach.